what's gonna happen. Hi guys, I'm just here for like my opening of my YouTube, and I'm just doing a little reform tutorial. Some people have been asking me about the textures, and will be like the softer texture I've lately been having, like, a little bit of crunch, a little bit of give, but still ultimately pretty soft. So we're gonna start. I got a Dollar Tree, Pure Silk shaving cream. There's a lot that I'm reforming, so I normally don't add too much because I do like the texture, but it'll make them really light and fluffy. It looks like they're damp on camera. We're also gonna be adding some dish soap. I do personally like to add all of the softening agents to it because I just like the way it is. And not too much of either of them. The only thing I haven't been using is the Her Fabuloso. It's a really good softening agent, but I decided to experiment with it first before I actually make it a staple in my reforms. So this isn't going to be the one from scratch. I will be posting one that is, I know some people have like the life of a box of gym chalk on their Instagram pages, and I would just do what I would call a turnaround, where I would reform the gym chalk from scratch, with the baby powder, the cornstarch, the cornstarch, and everything. Now I know most people say add water slowly and sift it, but because I typically reform right after crushing, I'll add some water and then I'll just put a sifter over it. And like I said, I do frequent Dollar Tree, so these containers, for those of us who also frequent Dollar Tree, might look familiar. I like that this particular one holds a lot. I can pour it in the sifter. And of course I will be adding more water than that because that ratio, I'm just not sure how it would turn out if I, just left it like that. So, like I said, I'll be sifting a bunch because I'm going to be filling a couple of slabs and cakes today. Because I'll be going away for a little bit, or leaving my ASMR space for a little bit. So, I just want to make sure that I have enough content and reforms and things drying ready to go for before I leave. And I am an air dryer, and I'm also in Houston, where it is currently hurricane season. So this is not very fun, nor is it ideal for textures. Now this is just my plain Jane mix. As you can see, I pulled out a dirty plain Jane bowl. So it's gonna mix. It's starting to thicken up, so I'm gonna add more water. I do like to also rinse off my hands when I do this because, as you guys know, you're crushing powder and it's gonna stick to your hands. So, they don't always stay clean during the reform process, but it is what it is. What I like to do is I like to keep all my chalk pebbles. I don't always reform all of it. I actually have a bowl of chalk pebbles sitting to my right. That way, in the event that I do have too much water, but I happen to run out of reform paste, I can just add the pebbles, or obviously I crush them, but I'll be able to simply add the pebbles, and then my mixes are going to be too liquidy and take too much time to dry. So, time to add more powder. And like I said, I know that this is weird. Most people would definitely just add the water slowly to the powder, but sometimes I'm just feeling a thicker paste. Sometimes I want a thinner paste as well. So I don't have a set choice, unfortunately. And those pebbles will also get crushed later, but I like to save them for other videos. I had a few pebble crushing videos. It's something that I didn't know people wanted, so I didn't really post them. Okay. Also, it's interesting because as you sift it, it'll be all fluffy and thick, but then when you add the water, it'll condense down into the powder. Or the powder will condense down into a liquid form. And yeah. So I know a lot of ASMR artists mix with their hands. I'm not a big fan of face play. I don't like mixing with my hands. As you can see, I literally just rinsed my hand off in this. So I do like this texture, but I'm going to, well, this consistency. However, because I air dry, and also whenever I'm not here to take my reforms right out of the molds, they very often will just crack in the molds because I wasn't here to take them out. So I'm going to make the paste a little thicker. That way the ratio of water to gym chalk is a little lower, and they also don't shrink as much within the molds when you come with a thicker paste and have the lower ratio or higher ratio of gym chalk to water, lower ratio of water to gym chalk. So I'm gonna go a little thicker than this, and I'm actually gonna consult my Pebbles bucket. I mean, I still have plenty of reform powder, but I just wanted to show you guys the Pebbles bucket. I do, of course, crush these pebbles as well, but sometimes I want my mix to be a little more chalky than reformy. Recently in my live on Instagram, someone did give me one of my best compliments, and it's, "Oh, this looks like fresh chalk." And I love that compliment because it's like, a lot of people want their reforms to be as close as fresh chalk as possible. I personally like reforms because I can control the texture of them, but I feel like I buy a lot of gym chalk, which is nice if you like crunchy reforms. Like I said, I like to soften mine. My ideal texture is like a nice crunch, but still crushable. So this is about the thickness that I like to have mine at, where I can still tap it down and it'll condense in the reforms, but at the same time it is still like thick enough where it won't take too long to dry. Like, it'll stick unless I slide it off, of course. But that is how I make my mixes. I'm not gonna do the molding because my setup isn't really ideal for doing the molding here on camera. But hopefully when I move I can do better tutorials like combining cornstarch, that's a favorite texture, as well as, of course, starting with a fresh block of gym chalk and then going on and reforming that. But it is time for me to wash my molds and time for me to hop off. So thank you guys for joining me. Bye.